Alright guys, so today we're going to talk about a very interesting pair of IEMs, but if you can get past the whole anime girl theme that's kind of slapped all over these, this makes for a pretty interesting pair of IEMs. Now the pair that we're going to check out is the CVJ Shadow Blade. It comes in, I'm going to say between $80 to $90 because it's what I've seen on a few different sites. And there's a lot to unpack here, like literally. The cover of the box, you can see that there's an anime girl. Again, that's nothing new when it comes to IEMs. But once you open up the box, you see that there is now a print in a little frame of the same picture that's on the cover. That's a little strange. And then when you move that, you see the case for the IEMs has the same print on the outside of it. This is definitely not normal. And then it also comes with a keychain that has that same anime character on it. So they're heavily embedded in showing off this one anime character. And maybe that kind of makes sense with this pair. It's an IEM that is more focused on gaming. This isn't like a normal, everyday listening pair of IEMs, or at least that's not what I think they're going for. But what makes this pair stand out and what makes this unique is, yes, it is using a 10mm dynamic driver, but it also has a vibration unit in each IEM. So it's kind of, I don't want to say trying to give you that haptic feedback bass that you get with the Crusher series from Skull Candy, but it is definitely vibrating the whole IEM. So when you're gaming with explosions and gunshots, or if you're watching a movie, same thing with explosions and things like that, it's giving you more a sense of feeling these things instead of just hearing these things. And there's no switch to toggle this on or off. It actually starts to kind of take place once you're at about 60 to 70% volume. So this isn't something, again, that you're turning on and off. It really is just depending on the volume level that you have the device that you're using. So with this being a gaming pair of IEMs, I definitely use this with my ROG Ally. I used it with my phone. I used it with my PC. And the reason I was able to use it in all these different ways is, yes, it is a wired connection, but it comes with a 3.5mm headphone connection. It comes with the adapter that has the split cable if your computer has the mic input separate from the headphone input. It comes with a USB-C adapter, so that made it where I could use it with my phone. And it also came with a USB-A adapter. So if you have something like your laptop or PC that doesn't have a USB-C connection, you can use the USB-A connection. So there's a ton of different ways that you can use these. And the cable on these is a fabric cable. It does use the 2-pin connection to connect into the IEMs themselves. There is a little controller box located on the cable, and this allows you to play, pause, turn your volume up and down. And it actually has a mic on the back side of the controller box, but that's not the mic that you would use if you're going to use these for gaming, because it also comes with a removable mic that connects onto the cable as well. Like right where you plug in the right IEM, there's another little connection for the mic. And I do think this kind of makes it look strange when you don't have the mic plugged in, because you have these two prongs like just exposed right by your ear. There's nothing to actually cover this up. So I found this to be a little strange, because I would actually use a pair like this on the go and out and about, where it doesn't have anything to do with gaming at all. I like having that vibration, that bass feedback, while just listening to music. Now, another thing that they've included in the box is they actually have the little tuning nozzles. Now, in the past, when I've tried this with other products, I haven't noticed that it makes a huge difference. Well, it actually makes a huge difference with this pair. And the one that they have on it out of the box is the silver one. That says that this is the popular one. There's a black one that it says is Equilibrium, which there's more descriptions on the actual site, which I'll show here. And then there's a gold one that it says is for instrumental music. Now, this is the one that I found that I like the most. And with the ear tips that they've included, they have two different styles. So you're going to want to make sure you play around with these nozzles. You're going to want to make sure that you play around with the ear tips to make sure that you get the one that's right for you, because the ear tips are going to make a difference with the sound. Same thing with the nozzles. It definitely alters the sound quite a bit, but we'll talk about this a little bit more once we get to the sound itself. Now, the IEMs themselves, from a design standpoint, they are a flashy chrome They do have a little bit of weight to them, but when they're in your ear, you don't feel this weight at all. So luckily, they're pretty well balanced. I will say that it kind of looks bland. I don't like the chrome look itself because it's just going to pick up fingerprints. And I don't like the, shadow blade text being on the outside. I think this just kind of takes away from these having a pretty clean look overall. And from a design standpoint, there's nothing that really makes these stand out. So now going back to the mics on these, again, I want to kind of show you what these sound like when you're using that little boom mic that you can flex to move it around. I think it does a really good job of picking up my voice. I don't think it's like the best mic when it comes to gaming, but it definitely is going to get the job done. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here.
So here is a quick mic test using the little boom mic that attaches to the IEMs themselves. And I think quality-wise, this is pretty good. I think especially for gaming, most people on the other end is not going to have any kind of problems hearing you. I think it comes through pretty clear, picks up some pretty decent bass tones in my voice. But this is just to give you an idea of what it would sound like if you were gaming or maybe on like a Teams call or something like that.
So now let's talk about the sound. And there's a lot of different things that I'm going to factor in here. One, it's going to be the volume. You're definitely going to want to listen to these at about 60 to 70% volume or, even above that because you're going to want to take advantage of that vibration unit that's in the IEMs. I think that is the reason that you would buy these. I'm going to kind of explain the sound of these with using the gold nozzle and also using the thinner, more flexible ear tips. I felt like that kind of brought out the low end a little bit more, but I feel like the gold nozzle helped bring out the treble a little bit more because the way that it is out of the box with the silver nozzle, I just felt like was a little too mushy. I felt like the bass was definitely affecting the mids and the highs a little too much for my taste. So the gold nozzle helped bring out the treble a little bit more. And the vibration motor on here, again, it's not like overly strong. I don't want anybody to think that, this is going to be that haptic feedback bass that we've seen other headphones try to do. But if you put these in your hand and you're listening to music, you can feel them moving around in your hand. And same thing with your ears. You're actually feeling the vibration around the ear canal where the earbuds are touching you. So you're not like feeling these all over your head. It's just giving you just enough impact that with music, it kind of gives it more of a live presence. When you go to a concert, you feel the drums a little bit more than you do if you're just listening to headphones. So I like what it's doing here. And with gaming, the explosions and the gunshots just have more impact to it. It just has more life to it. And again, I think that's definitely what they're going for here. And the mids and the treble, this is kind of what I think on these. I think the mids, they left alone for the most part. I never felt like mids were, very forward. I didn't feel like, they're trying to put them right in front of you. But I never felt like the mids got lost. So with gaming, you can hear dialogue very clearly. Same thing with movies, so there's no issues there. You can hear like subtle footsteps and things like that. So first-person shooters, this is, kind of giving you an advantage there. And the treble on these, I never felt like got overly harsh or overly bright. It never got to that point, and that's even with the nozzle that's made to kind of bring this out a little bit more. So it's not overly dynamic. When it comes to the sound stage and the sound imaging, I think that kind of lends itself to sounding a little bit more open because usually the more dynamic an earbud is, it usually feels a little more closed in. So this one has some space to it, which lends itself well for gaming. And I never had an issue being able to tell where different sounds are coming from. So my overall opinion on these is if you can kind of get past the whole anime vibe that's just slapped all over these, and if you can also get past the fact that you're gonna have this two-pronged thing exposed if you don't have the mic plugged in, this is actually a unique pair of IEMs. I like the customization that you get with the nozzles. I like that they give you a lot of options when it comes to the ear tips. I actually like the look of these because it's fairly subtle overall. Again, kind of strange, especially when it's not subtle to the anime girl being slapped all over everything. But the sound is actually very good. It's good across all genres. I think it's excellent for gaming and movies. I really enjoyed using this with my ROG Ally. And then I like just plugging it straight into my phone and listening to music that way. And for what all you're getting, and for the way that they sound, and the unique vibration motor that it has, or vibration unit that it has in the IEMs, I think this is a hell of a bargain. I was extremely happy with these. And I think a lot of people are definitely going to be, because it just offers something a little bit different. But guys, that's my video on the CVJ Shadowblade IEMs. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.